Welcome back to the April 2020 update of the 93-gallon Skimmerless Acropora Dominant Reef Tank. Only a couple of changes since the last video. I switched the T5s out for a 400-watt radium metal halide 12 days ago. My understanding is that there is a break-in period for the halides, and I will give my thoughts on them in a separate video. For now, I will say I am liking the color rendition to my eyes when I add blues from the LED. The other change is a lot of the frags are gone. I ended up selling a lot of the pieces a few days ago, and as you can see, there's much more space to work with. With that out of the way, for new viewers, the following is a list of equipment on this tank. The lights are 400-watt radium metal halide with a Kessil AP 700, Kessil A360, and AI Prime HD. Flow consists of 2 Gyre XF 330s, 2 Jebao SW8s, 1 Jebao SLW 25. I'm using an old Apex Junior controller, and for dosing, I dose ESV B-Ionic using 2 1.1 ml dosers. For filtration, I'm using macroalgae, which consists of Chaeto, Grape Calurpa, Feather Calurpa, and some type of red macro. And to light this macroalgae, I'm using a random aquarium light that I bought for freshwater many years ago. I'm using a titanium heater, and finally my return pump is a Jebao DC-8000. If you guys have any questions on any equipment, please feel free to leave a comment, and I will be sure to respond to you as soon as I can. So that's pretty much it, guys. Some of the acros are a little faded because I think they are adjusting to the new light. However, I've not experienced any losses or any big bleaching events. Surprisingly, the Monties seem to have adapted to this new light really quickly. As for the new tank, I do not have any updates. However, it is my understanding that the tank manufacturer is still working. So maybe that will be here soon, maybe in a month. I do not mind the wait as I'm still working on the rockwork. This is a good time to point out that I am on Instagram at TheReeferYT. That's all one word. Again, that is TheReeferYT. I try to post daily on there, and it does have more updates on the new tank build than is currently on YouTube. So follow me on Instagram for more updates. Alright, now for the shot most people are waiting for, the overhead. Let's go! Okay guys, here's the top-down view, and I'm gonna do this video just a little different than I've done in the past. So in the past, what I'd do is I would talk about literally every single piece of coral, their name, a bit of their history potentially, and I just like to try something a little different this time. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you guys, and I will talk about some specific pieces of coral, but instead of naming every single thing, I'll just talk about things that maybe are a bit more interesting. Let me know if you guys prefer it this way in the comments below, or if you prefer it the other way. So the first piece I'm going to talk about is Wwc Yellow tips. It's a really great beginner piece. It grows really well. Just look at the coloration that's on this thing. So we have a green body, blue coralites, and then purple coralites that are closer to the tips, and that's capped off by a yellow tip. From a beginner's standpoint, I think this is a great piece to start with. So over here is basically my extra rack. I forget who made this, but yeah, it came with an extra piece in case you want to change the color, and I just stuck it on the egg crate just to hold down some of the frags. there's a pink Cadillac. Like I said before, I think this is a really great piece. It seems really hardy. And just this growth pattern, the growth coloration is really, really nice. Okay, so in the bottom right is CB Maleficent. I've had it for, I think, 3 months now. Ever since it's arrived, it's been a really good grower. It's been encrusting very, very well. Nothing really happening with its branches yet, although I'm sure it's thickening up. I do have quite a bit of flow in this tank. And then here we've got my hairy green acro. It's growing very, very well, especially considering I did cut a few frags off of it. When I compared this video to my last video, I can see that there's been a substantial amount of growth. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at that point now where it's going to take off and it's going to look pretty awesome. At the top there, you'll see the Hawkins Echinata. The coloration on this video is, I would say, pretty close to what I see in real life. The Hawkins is definitely, I can see why people are excited about it. They were excited about it when it first came out. And it's still a very exciting piece to me personally. And I'm just really getting into deep water acros now. In fact, if you guys like acros, if you like deep waters, and you're not subbed yet, definitely hit that subscribe button. There are going to be some videos that you'll probably find a real treat, especially if you're into the deep water stuff. Here are just some zoas. You know, with zoas, I mean, I see these days there's so many designer zoas that people are asking ridiculous prices for. Like, all those zoas you see in my tank are cheap ones, and they look pretty good to me. Over here is a green slimer. Yeah, you're gonna notice, because we're using halides now, which is the point of source of light, there's a lot more shadowing when I'm taking this type of video. And yeah, unfortunately, there's not much I can do about that. I just want to talk about this piece, the Oregon Tort. Really classic piece. It's supposed to be blue all over. You'll notice on mine there's a bit of browning, and that's because I actually had it shaded for probably about a month. It's directly under the halide, or pretty close to directly under it. So it's getting a lot of light. I currently have it on a 4-inch frag disc. And then here is another piece. I'm so excited about this piece because it is finally coloring up and reaching the potential that I thought it had. I've had this piece in my tank over 2 years. It's about 2 years and 4 months now. And yes, there have been times where I've experienced swings. I've experienced periods of little growth or very minimal growth. I started noticing that my rainbow loom, the color was finally coming back. So for the longest time, when I first got it, it was a beautiful color. It was growing and it was showing all these rainbow colors. And then suddenly, whether it was because I had an alp crash or something, it just turned green. And then it stayed green for the longest time. So all people thought when they looked at my tank was, oh, there's another green coral in my tank. And I was like, no, this is actually a rainbow loom. It's awesome and it's going to look awesome. It just needs time. And finally, about 3 months ago, I started noticing that, yes, I'm getting more growth tips. Some color seems to be coming back. If you look at my last video, I was describing that, hey, I'm starting to see some orange. I've gone from being like, should I be maybe getting rid of this, like not even growing it in the new tank, to being like, yes, I want this to be one of the centerpieces. And I'm going to have a lot of coral that have potential to be centerpieces. But this is already at that size where it's just going to look awesome. In the top left, it's my blue tip Turakai. So when I first got this piece, it was basically a teal deep water. And the reason I picked it up was because I didn't have Hawkins yet. And I was really hoping, because it's from Australia, I was hoping, oh, maybe this is an Echinata, maybe it's pretty close to Hawkins. No, completely different. If you look back at my previous videos, in my tank for the longest time, this has been a teal deep water. And I think it was only about 2 weeks ago, or maybe a bit longer, I looked at it one day and I was like, it's not teal anymore. It's become, so instead of teal skin, it's like a kind of deep brown. Some parts, like to me, it's not black, but it's become like a really deep color. And I don't know if this is actually what it should be, if this is what it should look like. Part of me was kind of freaking out, is it dying? But if you look at its tips, look at all those blue tips, and I think that's where it gets its name, blue tip turricae. I've gone from being very underwhelmed by this piece to being extremely excited to see where this piece is headed and how it's going to look and how it's going to fit into the new tank. The top left, this is my pearlberry style Acropora. When I bought it as a pearlberry. So if you guys are following me on Instagram, this is the coral that I have posted a few times on, and I actually posted a comparison of like 3 weeks of growth. So this guy has reached that point where the growth is just exploding. So here I have kind of my new tenuous section. This is very close to directly under the metal halide. First of all, I'm just going to name these pieces. So in the top left is Reef Raft Angry Birds. Middle top is Wheelman Coral's Electric Flamingo. Bottom left is a JF Jolt. And then bottom middle is just a blue tenuous that I got from an LFS. But I started noticing, Angry Birds, when it came in, it was gray. Very underwhelmed. It's starting to color up, I believe, and I'm seeing pinks, which I think is what it should be. And then I'm really excited about that blue tenuous from the LFS because it's lightened up to the point where it's starting to look very, very interesting. And its green polyps are back on the bottom piece. So yeah, right now that's where I have them. Tenuses are, I've been told that they're quite hardy. Now I don't know if they're beginner pieces, but the cost of them are quite prohibitive. So I really wouldn't roll the dice until you know that your tank is ready. I just want to speak briefly on a strategy that I would use if I was getting the acros. Definitely work on the cheaper acros first. Okay, over here, I'm just going to speak to the bottom left. It was sold to me as a bubblegum millie, and parts of it had STN. So if you guys watched my last video, I had talked about the fact that I was surprised that it was still alive, and it actually looks like it's coming back. And so I've been treated to a view of this multicolored millie for quite some time now. And part of me is like, oh, I really hope that it stays multicolored because that would be sick. But no, I don't think that's the case. I I think that its growing edges are just green, and that's why right now it looks green and pink. But the green is probably going to go away. So here, this has kind of become like Millie Central. We got that shaggy green Millie that I really am looking forward to growing out, just like the rest of my pieces. Okay, so this guy is a purple Stylophora. It really looks like this, like what you're seeing on screen. It really looks like that. The only thing is, in real life, it may actually be brighter. It's like a super bright purple. Under the halides, it glows, and the color just pops out at you. Okay, last two pieces. This is my pink lemonade. I would consider this piece if I were to rank acros, say top 5 or top 10, the pink lemonade would be in that list. There's a reason that it's a classic, and it's actually quite hardy and beginner friendly. So if you're a beginner and you want to try something like the next level, you should consider this piece. And it's a phenomenal piece, really beautiful. Under the halides, the pink is so pink, so vibrant. And it's not like an electric pink, it's like a kind of a soft baby pink. And then, the branches are yellow, which is a pretty nice contrast, but a very appropriate name, and it's just a beautiful piece. And over here is my Reef Raft Red Diablo. Now this is the same species as PC Rainbow that you guys get in the States. It is, if I had a top 10 list, I do not know if it would make it. It definitely wouldn't make my top 5. But there are a lot of things I really like about this piece. It looks great under blues and actinic lighting. So it is one of those acros that if you look right in the middle, the skin's actually yellow. The polyps are red. Coralites are reddish as well. But that yellow skin really pops under actinic lighting. So if you're looking for a coral that is going to look good under blues, PC Rainbow is definitely a piece I would check out. It is quite hardy. In my experience, it is easier than a strawberry shortcake. However, it can be a little sensitive. So I would say it is more difficult than the pink lemonade. It grows very well. I did some reading online. People are saying it's like a stag. I don't know if it is, but I'll leave that to the coral experts. If you know, leave a comment in the comment section below. But yeah, it's a nice piece. It's not my top 5. It may be my top 10. And that's pretty much it, guys. So thumbs up if you liked it, subs if you loved it. Thanks for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, leave in the comments below, do you like this? Do you prefer that I'm just talking about a few pieces or a handful of pieces instead of every piece? And hopefully what I'll do is I will kind of switch out as we go. But thanks again, guys. Take care, stay safe. I will see you guys next time.